Hello everyone, today we're checking out a new game called Truck World Driving School, which gives us a bit of an insight to a future game called Truck World Australia, which is still currently in development. Now I'm really excited to play this, and despite all the very impressive things I'm going to tell you about in this video, you'll definitely want to watch to the end because I'm going to tell you about a few quite major flaws with this and why it's left me feeling disappointed. First of all, I should say, I love truck sims, and I like my sims to be realistic. I like to drive using the in-cab view where possible. I use my wheel and pedal set, and even shift gears myself. What I'm saying is, I like to do things as accurate to real life as possible because I want my truck sim to simulate being a real life truck driver. So first of all, let's show you the truck, and then we can attempt some of the driving school lessons, and I'll give you an in-depth look of everything that I've found so far, the good and the bad. We've come down inside the quarry, and you'll notice that the visuals are incredible. This is running in 4K resolution, and the textures, the sky, the way the trees blow in the wind, it's all amazing. One of the really exciting things about this game is you can walk about outside the truck and you can interact with things like the air and electrical lines. You can wind the trailer leg supports up and down, and it looks like in the full game you're going to be able to tie down your cargo as well. This is a feature that a lot of sim truckers have been asking for over the years. The truck itself is unbranded, but it is clearly a Mack R series, and getting into the cab, the first thing that's a little bit jarring is that the mirrors look like they have a tint on them, making the colour of everything behind us look really super saturated. Inside the cab, the quality is great and the lighting and shadows are looking very believable. I love that the buttons are interactive and they have labels to let you know what each one is for. The engine sounds are good in my opinion, and I feel that all the sounds in the game have been modelled well and it's adding to the immersion. There doesn't seem to be a way to roll the windows up, so this might be a little bit noisy as we leave the quarry. The clutch and throttle pedals have huge dead zones that I couldn't really fix, so nothing happens until the last inch or so of travel, so this is going to be a little bit jerky. The clutch does work, but it's impossible to stall the truck, so it seems like the game applies the clutch to prevent stalling. The game also seems to do this when you're doing clutchless shifting between gears, and it makes the shifts way too easy. Let's look behind and check on the trailer, and it's looking great back there. You'll see that having these big stacks on the truck is not ideal, especially when we start doing our backing lessons up in the yard. You can hear bumps from underneath the cab, which sound great. There aren't really any cab sounds like squeaks or rattles, but we can certainly hear the suspension working beneath us. I know when the game was released there were issues with folks with steering wheels and not having the full number of degrees of rotation available to them, but I haven't experienced that, except the fact that I have no force feedback. All I get is a small rattle when I have the steering on full lock. Hopefully this is something that's integrated into the game, as the drive up this bumpy path could feel so much more realistic. So after what I've said, you might be wondering why I could possibly be disappointed in this game, but trust me, that part is just coming up. Wait until you see the lessons in the driving school. That's the next part, so let's head to the yard and see what our first lesson entails. This is the yard where you will carry out most of the lessons, and again the visuals are great. They've really spent time making this look good, and it isn't the perfect sterile environment that we are used to in the SCS sims. Strangely, there isn't an opportunity to see the open road in this demo, or a small town, or do any driving out on the street at all, and I would love to have seen some of that. It's now time to tell you what I really don't like about this game. It's the ridiculous time limits. Now, I'm not going to rush with these lessons I show you today, but to get any reasonable number of stars at all and be able to progress, even in the demo, you have to literally speedrun everything. In the tutorial mission, you get the opportunity to adjust your mirrors. The bottom mirror is positioned so far away that it really doesn't do anything. So we're outside the cab for this first one, so you can see us positioning the truck. We've been asked to connect the cables in this case, and that has us completed the first mission. We got 0 points for that one. I'm not going to speedrun this for you, I want you to see this in a bit of detail. And there's no way a real truck driver would do things as quickly as they're asking for. In the first main lesson, we have to drive forward and park in the target space. Again, it's difficult to know how far forward they want us to park, and we have to get a feel for the truck, but to me that feels just about right. So we'll park up there, and once we're happy, we can honk the horn. I want to get out and have a little look. And that looks pretty good. We're pretty well centered in the space there, and you get a chance to look at this beautiful truck and this beautifully modeled yard again. So we'll honk the horn to say that we're done. For lesson 2, it's very similar. We get in the truck and we have to back it into the designated area. When you click the mouse button, you get to zoom, but it makes everything go really blurry, which kind of defeats the purpose. I'm just checking the field of view. It looks a little bit weird on the left mirror, I'm going to say, compared to the right. They don't quite line up with each other, but it's not too bad. And again, it's hard to know how far back to go. But there we go, and we got 1 star for that. I don't think we were dawdling too much. We only got 1 star out of 3. In the next lesson, we have to drive into this tight space. And I've got no idea what the steering lock is going to be like on this and how far that we can jack this round. I'm going to try this. I've got a feeling we might have just clipped a cone there. Did you see the front of the truck bounce up a little bit? But we'll get out and have a look. And we have. And this is one thing that's really cool about this game. We can deform the cones, which I think is incredible. And there's even tire marks from where our truck has been, which I really like. And we gain 0 stars for that one as well. In this lesson, we're going into the space backwards, and I keep running around to the wrong side of the truck, which I have no excuse for because my cars are right-hand drive in real life. The game does not have any support for track IR or any type of head tracking, so you have to use the mouse to look around inside and outside the cab. This exhaust stack gets in the way of our vision, so I'm trying to do it by looking out the window. The other thing that disappointed me about the game was that it doesn't actually teach you how to drive a truck, which I thought was the whole point of it being called a driving school. This is essentially just the same as the SCS games, where you're thrown in at the deep end and you have to figure it out for yourself. This one is less of a training mission and a bit more of a real job. We've got to bobtail down to the bottom of the quarry, and you'll get a chance to see some of the physics. I have to say I'm really impressed with the textures of the ground, with lots of the assets they've put in this map here. It really does feel very, very authentic. But the question I have is, are they going to be able to keep this level of detail up with an entire map? I'll be quiet for a moment and let you have a listen to the engine as we descend into the quarry. Here's our flatbed trailer that we're going to pick up, and this one is a little bit awkward. We've got a truck sitting over there and we don't have anywhere to turn too easily, so we're going to nose in at this position. Let's have a look out past the big exhaust stack. And we'll park parallel to the trailer to begin with. And then we'll get this trailer attached. So I'm just coming back here, just wanting to do this inside the cab. The mirrors are maybe a little bit fisheye. Then we can look out the back as we roll back, and we'll get a noise when we are attached. There we go. And we got 1 star for that. The next mission is the one that you saw at the start of the video, so I'll show you that one in a time lapse. And the weird thing is, despite doing it really slowly, at the end of the mission, you'll see we got 900 points. So they were very generous with the timing for this one. We're on to the next lesson, and for this one, we've got to do a series of different steps. We've got to start our truck and release the parking brake. We've got to reverse back to our low bed trailer, which is what we're doing just now. Once the Kingpin goes into the 5th wheel, we will get out of the cab and we will manually wind up the support legs. And then we connect our lines back into the truck, parking brake off, into 1st gear, and we drive it forwards into this long parking space for trucks and trailers. I do think there's massive potential in this game. With video games, we expect everything to be time-based. And there's an example of our failure where we took 1 minute and 14 seconds to do that, which I didn't think was too bad. We were 99% precise, made no mistakes, and we got absolutely no stars for our efforts. This next mission is a little bit more tricky, where we've got to do the same as before at the beginning. We've got to attach the trailer. So outside, do the support legs, attach the cables. And you see already, this is making me want to rush, and I shouldn't be. Ideally, I would not have the trailer as close to the space. I would be already kind of jacked over at a bit of an angle, have the trailer at a 45-degree angle. This is a triaxle trailer, which I'm not completely used to either, so I'm not sure how it's going to behave. It is turning not too bad. I feel like I was maybe a little slow to get it to turn initially, and I've got no idea really when to get under it. I'm aware of that far right cone that we could be wiping out if we're not careful. So I think what we're going to do is get it back a little bit more, and we're going to do a pull forward. I'd rather this was a little straighter, so let's do that. let's back it up. Because of the exhausts, we now have to do the rest of this from inside the cab. And I can't see a whole lot of anything. So I'm going to pull forward one more time so I can see what I'm doing. And push back this trailer into the space. One of the things I learned when I was doing this is that the brake lights in the trailer are really bright. And if you just brake from time to time, it kind of shows you where the rear of your trailer is, so that looks good to me. And we weren't quick that time, but again, we got 0 stars. That's certainly not all of the lessons, but it's hopefully given you a bit of a impression for what Truck World Driving School is all about. I feel like the demo perhaps alienates some of us sim gamers who would like to shift manually, like to get out of the truck and do everything manually and feel like they want the real authentic experience, but there's no way that I could do half of these missions and get any stars whatsoever. What driving school out there teaches you to be so fast to the point of being reckless? The visuals are excellent and the physics as well feel really, really good. So there's lots of potential there. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this game. It's free to download on Steam, so I suggest you go and give it a try for yourself. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing. Thank you so much for joining me today and making it to the end. And until the next one, take care.